If you open up almost any social media app right now and just scroll for like 5 minutes, you're practically guaranteed to see someone promising that a tiny glass bottle of scented oil is going to completely change your life.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Right. I mean, it is relentlessly marketed to you as this cure for chronic stress or a one-to-one replacement for all of your household cleaning supplies, and basically just pure natural magic in a bottle. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are incredibly glad you're here with us because our mission today is to cut right through that intense wall of marketing and, well, wellness hype.
Yeah, and that intense marketing really obscures the real hard science happening beneath the surface. I mean, we are dealing with highly complex chemistry here, and unfortunately, there are very real safety protocols that get completely ignored when people treat these substances as harmless perfumes.
Exactly. So, to help us navigate this and find the actual truth, we are drawing heavily from a comprehensive guide called Simply Essentials Book 1. It's written by Peter James Hood, and his background gives this entire topic a really refreshing layer of credibility, I think.
Oh, for sure. It's not your typical wellness background.
Not at all. He spent over 30 years focused intensely on childhood nutrition, specifically dealing with systemic issues like clinical malnutrition and childhood obesity before he ever even pivoted into alternative wellness and natural remedies.
Which is huge.
Yeah. So he approaches this topic not from a place of trendy, fleeting fads, but from a rigid perspective of fundamental bodily health, biology, and natural science.
It is an incredibly grounded approach. In our time together today, we are going to explore the secret chemical language of plants, debunk some genuinely dangerous internet myths that could, quite literally, land you in the hospital, and arm you with practical, scientifically sound recipes for everything from safely disinfecting your kitchen countertops to fighting off international jet lag.
Okay, let's unpack this by going all the way back to the beginning. Before an essential oil ever ends up in a little amber bottle on a boutique store shelf, why does the plant even make it in the first place?
Right. It's a great question.
Because I think we have this arrogant, human-centric tendency to assume plants are just producing these beautiful scents for us to enjoy in our living rooms.
We do, but the reality is far more ruthless and practical. Essential oils are, fundamentally, a plant's primary survival mechanism. They are its lifeblood and its armor.
Wow.
Yeah, the plant is expending massive amounts of energy to produce these highly complex chemical compounds entirely for its own protection, healing, and propagation in a really hostile environment. Take a plant that produces tea tree oil, for instance.
Okay.
It grows in swampy, humid conditions, which is, the perfect breeding ground for mold and bacteria. It doesn't make that oil so we can clear up a skin blemish. It produces those incredibly powerful antimicrobial properties to defend its own cellular structure against aggressive fungal threats.
Right. It's literal chemical warfare for the plant.
Exactly.
But then on the flip side of that coin, you have delicate flowers like lavender or jasmine. They aren't necessarily trying to repel things, right?
Right.
They are producing these captivating, deeply sweet scents specifically to manipulate their environment.
Yes, drawing in bees, moths, and butterflies to ensure they get pollinated and survive into the next generation.
That is so smart.
It is. And then you have the mechanism of physical healing and tissue regeneration. When certain resinous trees are damaged, maybe a heavy branch breaks off in a storm, or a specific insect bores a hole deep into the bark, they secrete highly concentrated essential oils to physically seal the open wound.
Like a scab.
Exactly like a scab. Frankincense is a perfect example of this. The sticky resin that hardens on the outside of the tree is the plant's literal immune response, forming a barrier to prevent deadly bacteria from entering its vascular system.
That is incredible. But to get those powerful, highly evolved defenses out of the plant and into a bottle, you have to be incredibly careful. I mean, if you just take a bunch of lavender and boil it in a pot of water on your stove, you completely ruin the chemical structure.
Oh, you destroy it completely.
So how do they extract it safely? The source material breaks down two main methods, and steam distillation sounds like an incredibly delicate art form.
It requires immense precision. Basically, you place the raw plant materials, the flowers, leaves, or bark, into a sealed distillation chamber. Then, pressurized steam is forced up through that organic material.
Okay.
The specific heat and pressure of the steam cause the microscopic oil-bearing sacs on the plant to burst open, releasing those volatile, fragrant compounds into a vapor state.
I picture it like a botanical sauna. The steam is just in there, gently coaxing the plant into sweating out its most valuable, concentrated defenses without burning them.
That's a highly accurate mental model. So those newly vaporized aromatic compounds travel upward with the steam into a long cooling tube. As the temperature drops, the vapor condenses back into a liquid state. And because of basic physics, oil and water do not mix. The liquid naturally separates into two distinct layers in the collection vat. You get the precious, highly concentrated essential oil floating right on top, and underneath it, you get the hydrosol, which is essentially floral water that retains some of the plant's more delicate water-soluble properties.
But you don't use steam for everything, right? If you subject a lemon or a sweet orange to a hot botanical sauna, you destroy it.
Yeah, for citrus fruits, we rely entirely on cold pressing. The essential oils in citrus aren't hidden deep inside leaves or bark. They are sitting right on the surface, trapped inside those tiny porous dimples you see on the rind.
Oh, right. You can almost see the oil if you squeeze an orange peel.
Exactly. Cold pressing literally uses heavy mechanical force to puncture and crush those tiny sacs on the peel of the fruit, squeezing the oil out along with the juice, and then using a centrifuge to separate them. There is zero heat involved.
Which is super important.
It is vital because even mild heat would instantly degrade the fragile terpenes that give citrus that fresh, vibrant, zesty scent we instantly recognize. What's fascinating here is the beautiful, almost poetic symmetry of it all.
How's it?
Well, the exact biological mechanisms plants use to heal themselves, like that frankincense resin sealing an open wound to fight off a bacterial infection, are the very chemical properties humans have adapted over centuries to support our own bodily health and well-being. When we use these oils, we are quite literally borrowing a plant's immune system.
Wow. I've always wondered why a scent like lavender physically knocks me out and makes me sleepy, but smelling peppermint makes me feel like I just drank a shot of espresso.
Right.
What is physically happening in the body there? Because understanding that shifts this away from magic and grounds it in pure chemistry.
It comes down to the specific chemical families captured during that extraction process. When you open a bottle of essential oil, you are opening a dense, highly concentrated cocktail of chemical compounds. Terpenes are usually the most abundant.
Okay, terpenes.
Yeah, so if you inhale a cold-pressed citrus oil and instantly feel a surge of energy and an uplifted mood, you're physically interacting with terpenes, specifically one called dilamone. They are lightweight, highly volatile molecules that hit your olfactory system instantly, and they are famous for being uplifting and deeply antimicrobial.
Then you have esters. The source specifically highlights lanolinic acetate, which is the primary component found in lavender.
Esters act as the chemical chill pill of the botanical world. They are renowned in clinical aromatherapy for their sedative, calming effects. When inhaled, esters physically interact with your central nervous system to downregulate sympathetic activity.
Meaning they calm you down.
Yes, meaning they actively calm your body's fight-or-flight response, lower your heart rate, and soothe muscle tension.
But then you swing to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum with phenols. These sound incredibly intense and almost aggressive.
They are the heavy artillery of essential oils. Eugenol, which you find densely packed in clove oil, is a classic phenol. They are incredibly potent and aggressively antibacterial, but they are also sharp, hot, and highly caustic.
Yikes.
If you put a pure phenol on your skin, it will physically burn you. You have to handle them with immense respect.
And finally, we have ketones. The guide notes these are heavily present in plants like rosemary and spearmint.
Ketones are structural powerhouses, particularly excellent for respiratory health. They act as natural mucolytics.
Mucolytics.
Yeah, meaning they physically help thin and break down mucus in the lungs and sinuses. Beyond that, they stimulate the mind, promoting intense mental clarity and focus.
So what does this all mean for you, the person listening right now? To me, it means you have to intentionally match the chemistry to your specific goal. You would never want to use a ketone-heavy oil like eucalyptus when you were trying to fall asleep, because its molecular purpose is to violently wake up your respiratory system and sharpen your cognitive focus. You'd want an ester, like lavender, to pull the brakes on your nervous system.
Exactly. And because we are dealing with potent, chemically active compounds and not just pleasant, inert perfumes, this naturally pushes us to confront the most critical and often ignored part of this entire discussion. We have to address the serious safety risks and the wildly dangerous myths actively propagated by influencers regarding how you should use these oils.
We absolutely need to do some heavy myth-busting here, because the internet is a complete minefield of terrible advice.
It really is.
The biggest, most pervasive myth, the text points out, is this ubiquitous label of 100% pure. You see it on every single bottle at the grocery store.
That phrase is an empty marketing term that holds almost zero legal weight. In many countries, the regulatory labeling laws for essential oils are shockingly lax. A bottle boasting 100% pure or therapeutic grade, another completely made-up marketing term, by the way, can easily be adulterated with synthetic, lab-created fragrances.
Or just heavily diluted with cheap, odorless carrier oils to maximize corporate profits, right?
Exactly.
If the label is essentially meaningless, how do you actually know what you're spending your money on?
You have to demand GCMS testing.
What does that stand for?
That stands for gas chromatography and mass spectrometry. It is a rigorous third-party laboratory test. The gas chromatograph vaporizes the oil and pushes it through a microscopic coil to separate the individual molecules by size. Then, the mass spectrometer bombards those molecules with electrons to determine their exact atomic weight.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it creates a foolproof visual fingerprint of the exact chemical composition inside that specific batch of oil. If a brand refuses to provide public GCMS batch results, you are flying blind and have no idea what synthetic chemicals you are actually inhaling.
The author also gives a brilliant reality check for spotting fakes. He says authentic, wild-grown oils shouldn't always smell pretty.
Right. True, unadulterated tea tree oil shouldn't smell like a sweet luxury day spa. It smells intensely sharp, medicinal, almost like a harsh chemical cleaner. If it smells overly sweet, it has been synthetically altered to please the human nose.
And we need to reiterate that these are complementary tools. You do not use tea tree oil to cure a severe systemic staph infection instead of taking prescribed antibiotics.
Never. And where the wellness debate gets truly fierce, and where the source material urges extreme caution, is the highly controversial topic of internal use. The internet is flooded with advice telling people to ingest these oils.
I am going to step in and push back here on behalf of everyone listening because I see massive lifestyle influencers on social media literally tipping bottles of raw lemon oil into their drinking water every single morning.
Oh, it's terrifying.
They drink it all day long. They claim that because it comes from a natural lemon, it is perfectly safe and detoxifying.
That casual normalization of ingestion is exactly the dangerous misconception the text warns against. Proponents of drinking essential oils will loudly argue that the FDA has labeled certain oils as GRAS, generally recognized as safe for human consumption. They argue that historically, microscopic amounts have been used to flavor food or support digestion.
But the opponents of internal use wave a massive science-backed red flag regarding extreme toxicity. And the book has a staggering statistic that completely reframes this. Producing just one single drop of pure peppermint oil requires roughly the same amount of plant matter as brewing nearly 30 cups of peppermint tea.
Let the sheer volume of that sink in. 30 cups of tea distilled down into one single highly volatile drop. You would never physically be able to drink 30 cups of hot tea in one sitting without becoming violently ill.
No way.
Our livers are simply not designed to process botanical compounds at that level of intense concentration.
It makes me think of weaponized, highly concentrated ghost pepper hot sauce.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
A tiny microscopic drop off the end of a toothpick might add a beautiful, complex flavor to a massive industrial-sized pot of chili. But if you take the cap off and just chug the bottle, you aren't doing a healthy detox. You are taking an ambulance to the hospital with severe chemical burns down your entire esophagus.
That is a brilliant analogy. The text explicitly warns that certain oils are highly toxic and can cause organ failure if ingested things like wintergreen or eucalyptus. Even for the oils technically deemed safe for culinary flavoring, the author firmly stresses that therapeutic internal use should only ever be attempted under the direct clinical guidance of a certified medical aromatherapist.
And those severe toxicity warnings absolutely do not stop at ingestion.
Yeah.
There are hot oils, like the phenols and cinnamon and clove we discussed earlier, that will quite literally cause blistering chemical burns if applied directly to bare skin.
Then you have the hidden danger of phototoxicity.
Oh, the sunburn thing.
Yes. Certain cold-pressed citrus oils, specifically bergamot, lemon, and lime, contain compounds called furanocoumarins. If you apply these oils to your skin and then walk out into direct UV sunlight within 24 hours, those specific compounds violently react with the UV rays. They bind to the DNA in your skin cells and cause severe third-degree blistering sunburns that can leave permanent scars.
That is horrifying. We also cannot ignore the pets living in our homes. I know so many people who run diffusers all day in small apartments with their cats.
The text is explicit about this. Cats completely lack a specific liver pathway, the glucuronidation pathway, which is required to break down and process the complex compounds found in tea tree and citrus oils.
So they just can't process it?
No, they can't. Breathing in those diffused particles or getting the microscopic oil droplets on their fur, which they later lick off, causes a toxic buildup that can be fatal for them. This raises an important question. If these natural plant-based substances are so chemically potent and carry all these potential severe risks, how can we actually responsibly harness their benefits in our daily lives?
That brings us to mastering the actual art of application. The book outlines two incredibly safe, scientifically proven methods to get the physical and mental benefits without the danger: inhalation through aromatherapy and diluted topical application.
Let's break down inhalation first. Aromatherapy is frequently dismissed as just making a room smell nice, but there is a direct physiological superhighway between your nasal cavity and your brain.
We were talking about the limbic system, right? The primitive part of the brain that controls our raw emotions, our moods, and our deepest memories.
Yes. When you inhale an essential oil, those microscopic, volatile molecules travel up your nose and physically bind to olfactory receptors. Those receptors instantly fire electrical signals straight up the olfactory bulb, which is hardwired directly into the amygdala and hippocampus within the limbic system.
Okay.
It entirely bypasses the neocortex, the logical, conscious thinking part of your brain. That's exactly why a specific scent can trigger a vivid childhood memory in a fraction of a second, or why inhaling an ester instantly forces your heart rate to drop before you even realize you are relaxing. To harness this biological hack, diffusers are your best tool.
The guide breaks down two main types of diffusers you should know about. First is the ultrasonic diffuser. This is the plastic one almost everyone has on their nightstand. You fill a small reservoir with water, add a few drops of oil, and the small ceramic disc at the bottom vibrates at an ultrasonic frequency.
That rapid cavitation physically breaks the water and oil into a fine, cool mist. It's incredibly gentle, great for daily use, and adds a nice bit of humidity to dry winter air.
But then you step up to nebulizing diffusers. These are entirely different beasts. They do not use a single drop of water.
None.
Instead, they use a pressurized air pump and the Bernoulli principle to blast pure, undiluted essential oil straight from the glass bottle, shattering the oil into billions of microscopic nanoparticles that hang in the air for hours. They're incredibly intense, they consume oil much faster, and they are strictly meant for short, 15-minute therapeutic bursts, like clearing a stuffy nose rather than running continuously all day long.
But what if you have a sore muscle and actually want the oil on your body? That's topical application. We already established you cannot just slap raw, undiluted essential oil onto your skin unless you want a severe chemical burn. You must use a carrier oil.
Right, carrier oil.
Carrier oils are neutral, plant-derived fatty oils that literally carry the highly concentrated essential oil safely onto your skin, drastically diluting its intensity and preventing it from evaporating too quickly into the air.
The text highlights a few excellent options for this.
Fractionated coconut oil is universally loved because the long-chain fatty acids have been physically removed, meaning it stays liquid at room temperature, has zero scent, and never feels greasy.
And jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is fascinating because it isn't actually an oil at all, is it?
No, it's a liquid wax ester. It so closely mimics human sebum that it tricks your skin into absorbing it rapidly, making it perfect for acne-prone faces.
But you have to do the math to stay safe. The guide provides very rigid dilution rules. For a healthy adult, you want a 2 to 3% dilution rate. In practical kitchen counter terms, that means mixing 6 to 9 drops of essential oil into 1 full tablespoon of your chosen carrier oil.
And if you are dealing with children between the ages of 2 and 12 whose skin is much thinner and more permeable, you drop that to a 1% dilution, just 3 tiny drops per tablespoon.
And knowing where to apply that diluted mixture is just as important as the math. The wrists and temples are common target areas because the blood vessels are close to the surface, allowing for quick absorption and constant inhalation as you move your hands. Here's where it gets really interesting to me, the soles of the feet. The text specifically highly recommends the bottom of the feet as a primary application zone.
It's an excellent spot.
The stratum corneum, the outermost layer of skin, is much thicker there, which means there is a drastically lower risk of skin irritation. But the pores on your feet are also incredibly large, meaning your body is still able to rapidly absorb those complex chemical compounds directly into your bloodstream. Just the biological reality that rubbing a diluted plant oil on the bottom of my foot can physically impact my nervous system minutes later is amazing.
It is a profound testament to how seamlessly human biology interacts with botanical chemistry. Now that we thoroughly understand the chemical families, the strict safety protocols, and the mechanics of application, we can finally dive into the practical magic.
Yes, the daily life stuff.
How do we actually integrate this into a modern daily routine? The book is packed with these brilliant aha hacks that allow you to seamlessly swap out harsh, synthetic, endocrine-disrupting chemicals for highly effective plant-based solutions.
Let's actually walk through a hypothetical day, starting right when your alarm goes off. If you struggle to wake up and shake off the sleep inertia, the text provides a simple recipe for DIY energizing shower steamers.
These are a brilliant use of chemistry. You mix 1 cup of baking soda with a 1/4 cup of citric acid, bind it with a tiny splash of water, and then fold in 10 drops of eucalyptus oil and 5 drops of peppermint oil. You press that damp mixture into a silicone ice cube tray and let it harden overnight.
Then in the morning, you just drop one of those hard pucks onto the floor of your shower, tucked slightly away from the direct water stream. When the hot water inevitably splashes it, the citric acid and baking soda trigger a vigorous, effervescent chemical reaction.
Like a bath bomb.
Exactly. As it aggressively fizzes and melts, it releases all that trapped eucalyptus and peppermint directly into the hot steam cloud rising up to your face. Suddenly, your standard Tuesday morning shower feels like a high-end, sinus-clearing luxury spa experience.
Moving out of the bathroom and into household chores, essential oils are formidable tools for deep cleaning. You can easily craft a powerful, completely natural antibacterial surface spray by combining distilled water, 1/2 cup of plain white vinegar, and 10 drops of tea tree oil.
Because it actively bursts bacterial cell walls.
Precisely. And you add 5 drops of lemon oil, which utilizes that D-limone we discussed earlier to effortlessly slice through tough kitchen grease while leaving a fresh scent.
My absolute favorite cleaning hack from the entire book is the citrus dust repellent. You mix water and vinegar with lemon and sweet orange essential oils and lightly spray it on your wooden furniture. Not only does the D-limone clean the grime off the surface, but the unique chemical properties of those citrus oils literally leave behind a microscopic anti-static barrier.
It physically repels airborne dust from settling back onto your bookshelves and coffee tables for days.
Says wild.
And the utility of these tools extends far beyond the walls of your house. If you are traveling, dealing with international jet lag is a massive physiological burden. The author suggests creating a reset diffuser blend for your hotel room.
Yes. The synergy of this blend is so smart. When you finally get to your hotel, you diffuse 3 drops of lavender to force your exhausted nervous system to relax, 3 drops of lemon to help trick your circadian rhythm into daytime energy, and 2 drops of eucalyptus to physically increase oxygenation and clear away that heavy mental fog from sitting in a pressurized metal tube for 10 hours.
You can also tackle motion sickness naturally. Instead of relying on over-the-counter medications that leave you incredibly drowsy, you can craft a simple travel roll-on. You fill a small glass roller bottle with jojoba oil and add just 2 drops of peppermint and 2 drops of ginger essential oil.
Ginger is amazing for the stomach.
Ginger is famous for calming gastric motility. Rolling that diluted blend onto your wrist and directly behind your ears over the vagus nerve can settle an upset stomach remarkably fast.
The book even touches on elevating special occasions, like weddings. You can use large, ultrasonic diffusers hidden around a reception venue to naturally scent the air with a romantic, grounding blend of rose, bergamot, and sandalwood. Or you can craft highly personalized bridesmaids gifts.
Those are always a hit.
Imagine gifting a handmade, perfectly diluted perfume roller blended with rich jasmine and warm vanilla essential oils. It's intimately personal, it's entirely natural, and it completely avoids the massive payload of undisclosed synthetic phthalates found in commercial, store-bought perfumes.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, all of these daily life hacks, from the fizzing shower steamers to the anti-static surface sprays, achieve something much more profound than just making your environment smell nice. Every single time you consciously choose to swap out a harsh, lab-created synthetic product for one of these intentional plant-based recipes, you are actively and drastically reducing the toxic chemical load your body has to process. Furthermore, you are consciously anchoring your mundane daily routines back into the rhythms of the natural world.
It really shifts your entire perspective on what is sitting inside those little glass bottles. To bring this deep dive to a close, we really want to reiterate the core truth we've uncovered today. Essential oils are exponentially more than just nice smells for your living room aesthetic. They are highly concentrated, ancient, and incredibly complex chemical languages. They were meticulously engineered by plants over millions of years for their own brutal survival, protection, and physical healing in a very harsh natural world.
When we respect their incredible chemical potency, when we take the time to truly understand the science behind how they interact with human biology, and most importantly, when we strictly adhere to the safety guidelines, we can unlock profound, incredibly safe benefits for our homes, our travels, and our physical and emotional well-being.
So here is our specific call to action for you today. Pick just one single recipe that we talked about. Maybe it's mixing up that baking soda in eucalyptus shower steamer for tomorrow morning, or maybe it's crafting that ginger and peppermint roll-on for your next long road trip. Take the time to experiment with it safely, carefully measure your dilution math, and treat yourself like a curious, at-home botanist for the afternoon.
It is a deeply empowering feeling to realize you have these potent, natural tools completely at your disposal, provided you wield them with the immense respect their chemistry commands.
Exactly. And we want to leave you with one final lingering thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your day. We learned earlier that an essential oil's unique chemical fingerprint is directly shaped by the specific environment the plant lived in.
The specific weather it endured?
Right, the exact fungal threats it fought off, the composition of the soil it grew in, the amount of sunlight it managed to capture. So the next time you unscrew the cap of a bottle and inhale a single microscopic drop of an authentic essential oil, aren't you essentially breathing in the precise recorded environmental history of that specific plant's entire life?